Hi, I'm James Decker with Edge Mesh Marketing, and I'm joined by Jacob Loveless, our CEO. And I brought him here to talk a little bit about what he's seeing in the e-commerce market today. So thanks for taking the time, Jake.
Anytime, man.
All right. So to start, it really feels like we're in a very historic moment in the economy. And, we're starting to see consumer spending shift and maybe even pull back a little bit. Wanted to just high level get your take on how the next 18 months is going to unfold for e-commerce companies.
Yeah. I mean, prior to EdgeMesh, I had a very long career on Wall Street. So kind of looking at economic trends is very much in my blood. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be challenging. And kind of what we're starting to see, um, and you kind of really have started really to see it publicly in like public earnings statements. So you're seeing consumers shift down market, which means that, kind of the exemplar here would be like if you used to shop at Target, then now you shop at Walmart. And if you used to shop at Walmart, now you shop at, the Dollar Tree. And if you look at kind of the revenues of those companies over, really even just the last quarter, that's exactly what you've seen, right? You've seen Target take a hit, Walmart get a lift, and then, Dollar Tree, DLTR, has had a huge lift. It's had a great year. It's like one of the few stocks that's up year to date. So, for direct to consumer, the great thing about direct to consumer is it should always be cheaper for customers to buy direct to consumer than it is going through some platform. Meaning that, we all kind of know the Amazon trick. If you find a product that's, kind of a niche product on Amazon, you're almost always going to get a better deal going direct to consumer. And so, we're starting to see that. So interestingly enough, the kind of the mid-market D2C market, which really just had jet fuel poured on it from COVID, is able to actually retain a bunch of these direct to consumer relationships. So, you know, these are traditionally going to be in kind of niche goods, right? So you need to still offer a product, you know, it needs to be a better product. It can't be a lookalike product. I think you're going to see kind of the rise of the drop shipper is certainly if you're a drop shipping company, you're going to be under a lot of pressure because fundamentally you're just competing on price. But when you're competing on product, there's still an opportunity, still a lot of opportunity, especially as we go into the selling season.
All right. So are you feeling like most e-commerce companies are maybe unprepared for the shift in spending?
Yeah, I mean, I would say seasoned e-commerce companies who have done a few tours of duty are certainly much more prepared than say a brand that really came to market in say the last 3 to 4 years. So, if you kind of take a step back and say, oh, you started a brand and you kind of brought a brand to market, say 4 years ago, um, you probably could never, certainly haven't any time in the past, probably won't happen anytime in the near future, have so much tailwind for your brand. Because especially e-commerce direct to consumer, everybody everybody was shopping online for everything because you couldn't go anywhere. So you had kind of 24 months of just a wide open field, and the really you could succeed for a lot of reasons that had nothing to do with you. And you really didn't have to focus on efficiency. Whereas if your brand's been around, I'd say probably ideally 15 years, then you've already experienced kind of some financial downturns and some changes in consumer spending, and so those levers to pull for efficiency. And there's a big difference between cutting costs and being efficient. And so yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely seeing, and as we talk to clients, certainly as I talk to clients, it's like, listen, cutting costs may not be the winning strategy here. Cutting prices certainly isn't, but you want to look at opportunities for efficiency, and those are two very different things.
Yeah, so maybe you could share a little bit more about kind of what you're telling clients. You work with these e-commerce companies all day. What are you telling them to
Yeah,
do? What
yeah.
advice?
I mean, again, I think competing on price is a recipe for disaster, um, especially in the mid market. Um, you're generally making a product. As your brand succeeds, it's because of the product. It's not because of the price. Um, yeah, there are some exceptions to that rule where you're taking kind of a product experience and moving it from one experience to another, and you actually have a material change in price. So an example there would be, the proverbial example would be the Dollar Shave Club example, right? Where you used to go out and spend, $30, $40 on razors, and now you can effectively get something for $1 a month, or really, $5, $6 a month. Um, Even there, you're not competing on price. You're actually competing on a different delivery of the product. So, the very first, I mean, the mistake that I see, and it's the very first thing I bring up, is like, you should not be dropping your prices. Because here's the thing: if you drop your price, the only thing that's absolutely guaranteed is that your margin's going to go down 100%. It's going to happen in 100% of sales. And the counter argument of, well, you're going to get more purchases, so your net revenue is going to increase, is it, it's rarely true. And the other thing that it can tend to do, because again, you really are competing on product. You know, you're making a better shoe, right? Like, I wear Carryuma shoes, and like, it's a better shoe. If they took $10 off the price, I'm still gonna buy the shoe. Like, I'm gonna buy it at a current price. I'm gonna buy it up $5. I'm gonna buy it down $10 because I'm not buying the product based on the price. I'm buying it based on the product. Um, so again, just cutting prices, it feels like the thing to do, but that's cutting costs. That's not getting efficient.
Okay, so number
Um,
one, don't drop prices. Got it.
don't drop
What else,
prices.
what else are you talking about?
Yeah, really, you want to take a moment to take a step back and think about your total cost of acquiring customers. And in e-commerce land, this almost always comes down to optimizing your ad spend. Um, we've been able to get away with a lot of inefficiency in the advertising space. We're going into what is historically the most expensive time of year to advertise. So you really, really, really want to dig deep on how are these ads, how are these audience. You want to break audiences into further segments, because it's certainly true that a wide audience of, say, 10 million potential customers has within it a really, really good audience, maybe 2 million customers that convert at maybe a 6% rate for an average revenue per user of whatever, $20. And it's got 2 million that are converting at 0.2% and an ARPU of like 30 cents. And so you want to really, really dive deep and start breaking those audience apart and look for those moments of those opportunities of efficiency. um and then just basic blocking and tackling. If you don't sell products to South America, you shouldn't be running ads in South America. I see this all the time. We see it a lot at EdgeMesh because we're the front door to the website, and we often see it when we're looking. We have the ad protect product, but underneath the covers is also bot protection. So we'll look at kind of rates of traffic, and then inevitably I'll call the customer and be like, "Do you do business in the Ukraine or in Russia or in France?" And they're like, "No, we don't ship to any of those places." It's like, okay, well, two things: one, we probably shouldn't advertise to them, and two, like, we should probably go ahead and be more efficient with traffic regulation for those countries. We want to have say a stronger bot protection level to places where we don't do business, and kind of a lighter bot protection level in places where we do business. So again, kind of optimize that ad spend. And then yeah, I mean the third thing, kind of said it at the top, but it's worth saying it again. Cutting costs and getting efficient are not the same thing. It's very counterintuitive that as you enter what are challenging economic times, seasoned companies always spend into downturns. Is there cost reduction? Sure. There's always time to cut the fat, but you'll always see an increased investment in future payouts because you're able to find things cheaper, because vendors are cutting costs, things are getting less competitive, and as your competitors don't do that and go out of business, that's an opportunity for you to step into a market. So really, really think about cost cutting. Places where cost cutting is good, things that you don't get value from, right? If you've got some metric system that doesn't give you information to run the business, then you don't need that. If you've got some influencer program that isn't yielding a positive ROI, great. Now it's time to not just cut that program, but revisit that program. How do we make that program more efficient, right? And start holding every area of the business to some level of efficiency, whatever that metric is. If it's in advertising, that's going to be ROAS. If it's in technology, that's going to be, looking at the return on investment from a tech standpoint. And if it's staff, you want to make sure that everybody's doing something that's contributing to the current and future mission of the company. So, cutting an R&D team that's 6 months into a 12-month project, probably not the best idea. So again, cost and efficiency are not the same thing.
Got it. So don't drop prices, optimize your ad spend, and be really smart. In fact, don't cost cut, focus on efficiency. So
Right.
makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
So EdgeMesh technology company, obviously technology plays a big role. Like what do you see? How do you see technology and EdgeMesh kind of helping folks through this kind of this phase of the economy?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think, it's interesting. I mean, we started the company, long before COVID. And the main pitch of EdgeMesh was putting the efficiency back in e-commerce. And the reason why we said that, and it's still as true today as it was before, it's arguably more true now, is that speed is an enhancing drug. It takes whatever your e-commerce experience is, whatever those baseline metrics are, and it makes it better. And speed is still very much the core of the company. I mean, we are a performance-oriented company. Our job is to make those experiences faster. Obviously the mission has kind of grown over the years, but still at its core, it's always about performance. So, how does that make things more efficient? Well, 54% of users are going to abandon your website if it takes more than 3 seconds to load on mobile. Okay, when you've got, kind of a rising consumer base and a rising spending base, you may not notice that abandonment rate. But when they're going the other way, all of a sudden that 54% of users, that's a big number. Because, and I say this all the time, nobody ever comes to the website for free. It's not a store that you just randomly walk by. Like, you're either paying with hard dollars, which is advertising, or you're paying with soft dollars, influencer marketing, content marketing, search engine optimization. So you pay for every click that lands to the website. Let's make sure that we don't give them an experience that makes them bounce, right? You don't want to hit that one page and leave. On the flip side, as you work deeper into the funnel and customers get closer to that, actual checkout point, which really, really interesting is that, and study after study shows this, but it's also very intuitive. As a customer spends more time on the site, as they get closer to the actual exit of the funnel, their tolerance for latency decreases logarithmically. So
Mm.
I might be willing to wait 2.5 seconds for the first page. But by the time I'm deeply into shopping products, especially once I've added something to cart, I have, 1.6 second tolerance for latency. And when you get to a checkout where you've actually put in a credit card information, user tolerance for latency drops to the floor. So, every step along the way here, a faster experience is just going to kind of lift all those metrics. And it's easy, right? Once you kind of making it faster just makes all this stuff better. It's just like a hurricane blows over these metrics, and all of a sudden you can see the world for what it really is.
So would you say edge mesh clients are probably in a better position to kind of weather any potential economic storm?
Yeah, I mean, I think if for no other reason than we have such an active community. I mean, obviously bot protection and ad fraud has been a huge efficiency gain. I'm super glad we got it out this year. I'm really, really glad that we're going into the holiday season with that thing now, I mean, truly bulletproof. Um, so bot protection is a big deal in ad fraud because it keeps you from spending money on things that are not going to bring you money, which is it's just silly. Like why would you pay money to show an ad to a bot? Like it's just the bot's never going to buy anything. Um, and it's like, oh, fraud rates, they're not insane. It's not 80% fraud. Um, you know, we do have customers when they come on the platform. Like we had a customer came on the platform this week, and until you're on Edge Mesh Server, we don't really have a good feeling of what your bot and advertising fraud rate was. But in that first hour it was about 22%. The next day it was 14%. The next day it was 11%. The next day it was 7%. And then that steady state is somewhere between, I'd say, roughly 2.5 to 7%. And that doesn't sound like a big number, but that's like 7% on the bottom line. Like it's actually more than 7% of value, because if you think about it, you were going to spend the dollar on the bot. Now you're not going to spend the dollar on the bot, but you're still going to spend the dollar, but you're going to show it to a customer. And the only reason you're running an ad is that if you spend a dollar, you expect to make, say, $1.50. So losing the dollar to the bot doesn't really cost you a dollar; it costs you $1.50. And so, yeah, that's a big part of it. And again, it's just speed. Speed cures all ills.
Hmm.
It's very hard. We have a customer, easy standard, really hard vertical, right? They're in clothing vertical. Now they make a great product. I mean, it's a great product. Like, it's like, how good could a t-shirt be? It's like, it's good enough that when I bought 3 of them for my wife, she went and threw other t-shirts away, and now she buys these standard t-shirts. And when she puts on another t-shirt, she's like, oh, it's itchy. So like they compete on the product, and it is a great product, but you can't kind of feel how great it is until you have it. What makes their site so it's so fast, and the shopping experience is so seamless. If you look at when Kelly goes to shop on Easy Standard, she versus the competitors, because she does actually shop on other competitive websites, she'll go on the website and be like, oh, this is so like navigating between product. Again, you really want your customers are arriving to your site by definition with some level of purchase intent. I'm coming to Easy Standard to buy a 3-pack of t-shirts. That's my purchase intent. If the experience is awful, they may abandon their purchase intent and they may just go somewhere else. If the experience is okay, they're going to execute that purchase intent, and then they're going to kind of leave the store. And if the experience is great, if it's really easy to shop around, if it's really easy to look at suggested products, if it feels like, going from product to product is like hitting the back button on the website, then customers will shop instead of buy. And there's a difference, right? When you shop, you get your purchase intent, and then you get something else. And again, as a merchant, we know that like advertising costs, big cost, shipping costs, big cost, right? If I can sell you 9 t-shirts instead of 3 t-shirts, my shipping cost doesn't materially change. But shipping as a percentage of the overall sale there changes dramatically in my favor. So you really want customers to shop, not just to come in and buy.
Great. Yeah, super helpful, really interesting perspective, and I really appreciate you sharing it with us. I guess if people want to learn more, they can always come to the website, edgemesh.com.
Yeah,
And
and I would say check out the metrics that matter. The white paper we did. That's again, kind of looking at the world through the eye of efficiency. You really want to focus not on vanity metrics. You want to focus on real metrics that really impact the business, and kind of look at your traffic in the right way. And that white paper, I think, does a good job at spelling that out.
perfect. All right. Thanks so much, Jake. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.